Here we go. Recovery dieting. How to be consistent in the booty building challenge, in your body transformation challenge, in your weight loss journey, in your seriously curvy muscle gain journey. This is the reason why you're going to succeed in the journey. Now, it's all well and good for those who have been on the roller coaster of yo-yo dieting for some of you, like literally years, some of you over a decade, if not more. The biggest factors that can interrupt you from succeeding in your relationship with food, with exercise, with your mindset, is that some of the programs you've been on, whether it's keto, intermittent fasting, low carb, no carb, shakes, detoxes, everything, the biggest substantiator that causes them to fail long term and not build up those habits is they're simply not sustainable. They're not enjoyable. They're not what works for your lifestyle, for your goals, for your environment that you're living in, for your social groups, for your partners, for your relationships. The key to dominating this area of your life is finding something that works for you, that allows you to be consistent over time. And how we do that here is by making your eating habits more enjoyable, by making your training habits more enjoyable. And to do that, well, that's why this is literally one of the 4 points of those 20% of actions that we're going to be taking that's going to lead to 80% or more of your results in the booty building challenge. So the key number 4 of that 4 pillars was editing how you complete the booty building challenge priority actions so that you enjoy the journey. So this in itself is a high priority action, helping you make the journey more fun and sustainable and more consistent over time. Now, the booty building, recovery dieting, 80-20 lists, they're essentially constructive and destructive lists. What the hell do I mean by that? Why do we make it so complicated in terms of terminology? Essentially, when you slip up on your diet, what went wrong? What led up to that slip up? What was so let's just say I've eaten a kebab at 2 a.m. in the morning. What led to me doing that? Well, it could have been me having 6 drinks at the pub. Okay, why did I have 6 drinks at the pub? Because it was Friday, and I work at 9 to 5, and I had a really shit day, and I just wanted to let off steam and hang out with some friends after work. Okay, so why was food and alcohol my vice for letting off steam that day? Because I didn't prepare XYZ for lunch, or I didn't have prior plans for my Friday afternoon, and now I'm hungover all day Saturday. I've ordering hangover food, and I've kind of fucked up my diet for the next 3 to 5 days. So, okay, what we always backtrack. What was the trigger point? What didn't I have prepared? What could I have done differently to make that slip up less detrimental? So it's not also about being restrictive. If you want to be social, if you want to drink, if you want to have some dirty food at night time, it's not about cutting it out completely. It's how can we minimize the effects? How can we prepare for it in the future based on the mistakes that we make, that we know that we make, that we already know that we're prone to making, and learning what we are having a really specific analytical mindset on the food that we're going to be eating over the next 90 to 120 days while we're on this one-on-one training and program. So really exciting stuff. So I almost call this the fuck up diet. Like, I fucked up. What was the mistake? Okay, I'm going to learn from the mistake. the recovery diet, it also includes a lot of, as I mentioned before, recovery from your workouts. So it's just a really great term to learning how to enjoy dieting again, how to enjoy eating in such a way that's going to help you eat satisfying foods that are satiating, they make you feel full, they are tasty, they're readily available, they don't lead to binging and feeling like shit. So there's always a healthier version, there's always a higher or lower calorie version, there's always a more emotionally satisfying version of whatever food that is typically your vice. And the 80-20 lists, the positive and negative lists, the constructive and destructive lists are a way of you keeping track of what they are for each part of the day. So let's dive into these a little bit. I've got this link here. It's pretty much, this link here is a document summary of this entire page. So if you check, it goes back up into the 80-20 rule. It's got all 4 of those specific action steps here. So you're having clear, powerful goals, nailing your intake, nailing your workouts, and number 4 of the 20% leading to 80% of the results, being consistent, learning how to have fun. So yeah, again, this document is a summary of the page, but if we go to page 7, this is the constructive and destructive list. So don't be confused about how it all looks. It's exactly how I described it before. So these are some of my learning steps throughout my dieting history, and it's based on each one of these pages is based on each goal. So this is the action step number 1, which was having really clear, powerful goals for the Pareto principle. So out of all those 20 actions, so the being motivated, this one here is sticking to my diet, this one is sticking to my workouts, and this one is learning how to have more fun and more consistent on my journey. So let's just go to the diet one, because we are in the meal plan module. Some of the things that have led me to enable higher progress in my eating habits on this list, and some things that have hindered my progress in my eating habits and my dietary goals are on this list. This is me writing out what I've learnt along my journey, and then highlighting the ones that seem to have the biggest impact in me being sustainable or me having my progress being hindered. So it's easy for me to hit a large and more aggressive calorie deficit if I also walk 60 to 90 minutes in a day. This allows me to eat more food, and therefore I don't feel as though I've am at a really low calorie deficit of 1500. And that's this is an extremely aggressive calorie deficit. This is something I would only do for a couple of weeks. If I was looking for a calorie deficit long term, given my size, my muscle mass and whatnot, this is borderline for my specific body type. I would do this maybe once every 3 years for a couple of weeks, just to kind of cleanse myself out. Definitely wouldn't recommend this aggressive calorie deficit to many people. You kind of have to know your body, how it works, because in this kind of state, given my body mass, my body type, I would actually be losing more muscle mass. So this 1500 calorie number, it kind of has been edited more so for the target audience, which is women who have a smaller body mass. So my version of this would be 2000 calories instead of 2400. But the key here is that if I add a 60 to 90 minute walk in my day, I can eat a little bit more food and don't feel like I'm hungry, which is an awesome one. Tracking everything on MyFitnessPal, that helps me to enable my progress, I've found out. So I would have found out the hard way by not tracking every meal on MyFitnessPal. That hindered my progress. For me, so yeah, as I talked about before, binge drinking alcohol, so more than 2 or 3. I know it's binge drinking. Technically it is. I think if it's over 3, then it's technically a binge. But I think we can call it social drinking. Socializing with people in settings where they're likely to start drinking more than 2 or 3 drinks, controlling my schedule in the afternoon. So I noticed that if I didn't, let me fix that spelling mistake. If I didn't know what I was going to be doing that later in the afternoon, I was more likely to be social more frequently throughout the week. So I'd go out more than just a Friday. I'd do Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, and a Saturday, and I'd be drinking, socializing, and just getting thrown off my diet. So knowing and scheduling events in the afternoon, that would be enabling my progress rather than hindering it. So these are the things, like, for me personally, if I eat breakfast, it causes me to have less room for calories at dinner time, which makes me feel stressed and increases the likelihood of breaking off from my low calorie goals consistently over time. So I've found that for me personally, eating breakfast doesn't work, but I'll have a snack of 2 apples. I wonder if I've written that down here. Here we go. Yep. Eating 2 green apples to push my lunch back as long as possible. That actually leads me to feel really emotionally satisfied, and I feel full from eating 2 apples. I'll typically eat 2 apples like 2 or 3 hours after I've woken up, after I've had a black coffee. But again, this is what works for me. You'll have your own list, and we're going to refine that over time while you're on the recovery dieting schedule, and we're going to be adding and subtracting to this list based on the other high priority action steps within the booty building challenge. So again, I know this kind of looks a little bit overcomplicated. It's really not. And what we've got set up in terms of our one-on-one coaching is you're going to be literally filling out like a weekly summary. So what worked for me? What are 3 things that worked for me this week? What are 3 things that hindered me this week? And you and I, we're going to be going over your answers on our one-on-one check-in calls, just so I know that you're adding to these 80-20 lists really effectively, rather than being deterred from adding to these lists. Because these lists, you don't have to get so fancy as well. You can literally pull out a piece of paper and be like, okay, put a line down. These are the things that are working for me. These are the things that aren't working for me. Blue tack it up onto the fridge, into your bedroom, whatever suits best, and then just add to them once you figure out what works, what doesn't work. Like, my lists have been created over time for like 3 or 4 years. These aren't like my most current updated lists, but if we scroll up and I just have a look at, say, like, I think this is the powerful goals. I know that to have really powerful goals, I'll use the John D. Martini motivation list, value determined questionnaire, which I have in this program as well. I know that, this is a random one as well. So if my bedroom is like cluttered and messy, then typically my mindset, my ability to be motivated is affected. For some reason, like I've noticed that whenever I clean, I get into an organized state. I build up just a little bit of momentum in terms of motivation and getting my days underway and being structured in my schedule and routines, just because my bedroom's not cluttered. I have my laundry done. Like, little things like this, once we refine what your little things like that are, we can prioritize them throughout your weekly schedule, and you're more likely to enjoy the process, be consistent over time. So if we go back to the 80-20 lists, I've got a plain version of this document. So you click this link, it'll bring up a blank version of the 80-20 lists, and we're just going to be adding and subtracting to it over the next few months, which is going to be really, really exciting and pretty. I'm probably more excited for you to go through these lists than you are yourself. So, yeah, really can't wait. And a really key element here, if you really want to summarize these lists, we learn from every single slip up. So, large, small, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, day after day after day after day after day after day. If you did this, if you only did this, you would succeed in your goals, because you're always learning from your mistakes. If you learn from your mistakes, it's not really a mistake, given that this goal, as you can probably see, one hand you're going to get amazing results in your first 3 to 4 months, but a true body transformation. Some people are freaks; they can do a true body transformation in a short period of time. A truly remarkable transformation will take a bit longer as well. So it can take between 3 to 4 months to 2 years, and it only keeps getting better and better. So whatever you can accomplish in this next 3 to 4 months, we can only compound it exponentially. Probably can't promise exponentially, but we can only compound your emotional self-confidence. That's probably what's going to compound exponentially as we get better and better and better at learning how to have fun exercising, learning how to have fun dieting. That's going to be the fun stuff. So cool. I'll let you read through this in your own time, and we'll go to the next module. Really excited. Cheers, guys. Bye.